Hi guys, thanks again for coming back to this channel. Okay, I've got some more answers for you. As you have been sending me some questions, I thought probably it'd be just as well if I just answer it through the video. So Neil, again, hi, congrats again. Okay, so your question I actually did answer through the YouTube channel. Unfortunately, my computer decided to fall over and the whole list of information I gave you it was lost, so I thought I'll give you a video instead. Okay, so preparing to become an ECA, helpful hints and tips you can do regards of your training, study, or getting your first aid certificate before applying. You also asked what did I take away from my training and what did I wish I prepared for. Lots of questions and really good questions too. Okay, so preparing for as an ECA. In the past, I've done first aid, and I also worked as a PTS, which was patient transport services. I think one of the biggest things you need to do or be as an ECA, or in fact working in an ambulance service at all, is good communication, good people skills, talking to people, and actually wanting to understand them is probably the biggest hurdle if you're not a people person. You know, you can learn everything from the textbook, you can do all the medical stuff, you can get degrees and doctorates and things like that all your life. But if your job is to talk to people, which is a lot of this job is, or all of it's all to be communication, a lot of it's social as well, asking people who aren't well off, or there's problems at home where they need more care, that sort of things. If you don't communicate as a one-to-one person and really want to help that person, this job is not for you. Okay, the job is for somebody who communicates really well, is confident with communication. Now, you can't really learn in a book how to talk to somebody. Okay, that comes with time, that comes with experience, that comes with life. You might be a very, very lucky person and be very outgoing from the day that you leave school, which is great, and that really would help. So for school leavers, if you're very outgoing and you talk to people and you're happy to socialise, but you're also happy to talk to strangers who you don't know anything about, and you're happy to talk to people who are a lot older than you, potentially, and some people who are younger than you, then fine, there's absolutely no problems at all. Those who have problems with contact communicating with people, those who are a bit worried about talking to someone who's, in their 70s, how do you talk to someone who's a lot older than them? How do you talk to someone who's 3 or 4 years old? This comes with experience. Okay, so a human being is a social animal, and we like to communicate with people. We like to explore our emotions. We like to group in different places and just generally be a social creature. But if you find it difficult to communicate at several layers of human society, it may be a little bit bumpy road of learning how to do that and getting that experience through your life. But it is possible. It is absolutely possible. So I say communication is the biggest thing. As long as you can talk to somebody and you can get to their level, whether they're 3 years old, they're 73 years old, 103 years old, then that's the one thing which you can't be taught at in a classroom or in a book. You learn it through your life. You learn it through life skills. Yeah, soft skills, as it were. Okay, so first aid course, first aid certifications. Yes, if you've got a first aid certificate, or you're thinking of getting a first aid certificate prior to any interviews or applying for a job like this, yeah, it would be quite good. It will just give you a basic understanding of first aid for you, for your family, for anything. First aid is really important anyway to learn, even if you didn't apply for this job. However, as an ECA, you will be taught basic life support and advanced. Okay, so You'll learn your doctor ABCs, so your danger and your responses and airways and all that sort of thing. You also learn how to help with the airways and how to help with the intubation and that side of things. You know, how to put the defib on. Yeah, that's going to be taught to you as an ECA in training. Okay, so that all comes in the package of the course which you pay for. Okay, eventually you don't pay for it straight away. You basically work for the company. You work for, say, SWAST or SCAST or whoever you're doing it with. You take your 8-week course, and then in 2 years of working for them, you have kind of paid back the course. Okay, so you don't physically have to pay them anything, but over 2 years of working for the company or companies, you would have paid it back because of the time that you've given back to them. Okay, I always like the idea of having a first aid certificate anyway, but the thing is, with first aid certificates, St. John's or I can't think of the other one that used to be Nuco, I think, or Newcon, things change in the first aid world over the last couple of years. I mean, there used to be a change of how many compressions to how many breaths 10 years ago, and it might be slightly different now as it was then, or I don't know. Certainly the way you put somebody in a recovery position had changed 10 years ago to what it is now, sort of thing, or 20 years ago, but just subtle changes. So yeah, have a first aid certificate if you want to. So go ahead and pay for that if you want out of your own money. That's fine. But yeah, the company will actually give you the certificate anyway as part of the course, and you will be an advanced first aider in that sense. You know, you would be able to do for advanced life support. Okay, so what I find helpful, or would I take away from my training? I found that it was helpful that that I obviously knew what to do as a job, because it's an intensive course, but it can be done. To prepare for it, I had to do homework for myself every single night for those 8 weeks, and I still do it now, to be honest, just to retain the information in my head. Because of my memory problems, because of dyslexia, I've got to work 3 or 4 times harder than probably anybody else, I suppose, just to retain the same amount of information. So for me, I had to work harder to try and keep it in there, and to keep remembering it. If you've got a really good memory, that's fantastic, so you'll be fine. But for me, to prepare for that, I had to prepare time for myself in the evenings and early in the mornings and in the break times, whenever I got a spare couple of minutes, just to go through an old word I couldn't remember the reasons of, or what my 10 traffic questions were, and I had to go through all the answers and say why those answers were as they were. So I had to prepare myself time-wise, and mentally I had to try and keep it in my noddle as well. I can't say I remembered everything, but I retained most things. What I have found is that you do the course, you get your certificate, and then when you're on the road, that's when you start to learn the job. Okay, you can be learning the CA job or any job at all by reading a book. I know a degree person comes from the university, becomes a paramedic, however, or becomes a vet, a doctor, anything. You read a book, you can read as many books as you want. You might have knowledge of it medically, you might have knowledge of it as in the theory, but to actually put it in practice and to realise that everything is not black and white, that's when you start learning properly, and that's how you learn the job, is on the road with experience. So if you can go out and ask for a third manning a few times when you go for an interview, or even beforehand, just to see if this job's for you, I don't know if they will not, but it'll be good for you to come along on board as an observer, for example, and see what it is like. Unfortunately, because of the nature of the work, I can't video a shout to a patient, obviously because of confidentiality. But there is quite a few things on YouTube, or I think on television, where you've got like 999 ambulance jobs and things like that. So you'll see kind of what a job's about. As a paramedic side of things, just think of the ECA as one down from that. So you're still being very symbiotic with the paramedic, as I said before in the last video. So yeah, so that's my that's my preparing, and that's what I've taken away. I think basically what I've taken away from this job is humility. I'm very humbled to think that we go to people's houses who are complete strangers. They don't know us from the next door neighbours. They are a lot of times in a panic, scared, upset, stressed, worried. You're seeing people as a crew member. You're seeing people on their worst day of their lives. And you have to think you're going to go home tonight and you're going to have your own room, your own house, your own family, and you're leaving those problems behind. And you should do, because you don't take your work home with you, even though sometimes it can be difficult. But those people will still have those problems. You still have Mrs. Miggins. We say Mrs. Miggins, but it's not real. In the hospital, she might be there for 6-7 hours, but in that time we've had 3 or 4 jobs, and we might see that person in and out, but that person's still got that same problem. Yeah. But when we go to people's houses, there's no we don't judge. Okay, there's no judging of what the house looks like, how people live, the state of their clothes, what their life choices are. That's something we do not do and should not do. Okay, because it's completely unfair. We don't know what their history is. We don't know why they're in that situation. They could be as rich as anything and still have pancreatic cancer and be dying in 2 or 3 months. Excuse me. But when you go to people's houses, you need to be as professional as possible and be humbled by it as well, because they are inviting complete strangers into their house to help them. Yeah, and it's a very what's what I'm thinking of? I can't think of the word now, but it's something that you should not take for granted. Okay. And I always feel the same every time I go on a shout. I always think this way, and quite often I speak to the people's owners, and I say, "Wow, I wish I could have the idea of doing this to my banister," or "I love that painting," or just to break up the conversation, because that helps in a lot of scenarios as well. Okay, so I hope that's helped some answers for you. Yeah, again, Neil, congratulations on everything on that. I also I've got some more shouts for you later on, everyone. There's a couple more emails that come my way with people starting up ECA roles. I need to get a list and I shall give them a shout earlier. Okay, so that's it for now. You take care, drive carefully, and I shall see you or talk to you very soon. Take care. Bye bye.